Life.
We are going live, loading up.
All right. Welcome, guys, to the Contemplative CrossFit Mind Stream. This is episode 7. We're on week 6. Um, no, sorry, week 8. And this is the phase 3 of the training already in the 90-day boot camp. And again, I'm hosting this with our co-founder, Con. And here we have Matthew away from his office. That's what I like about Matthew. He's always in doing the CC call in the office. Oh, shit. Maybe we shouldn't say that. But I thought it was
Like
relatable though. I was like, if you you look like you're in the office, but you're doing these calls, I bet a lot of people watching this, they probably have a 9 to 5 job at the office. But just wait,
every
go
time I
ahead.
see Matthew doing that, I'm reminded by the Matrix. The Matrix, the movie,
Uh,
like cubicle, and then hearing all these, joining on the meeting about awakening realization, piercing through the veil.
I didn't think of that, but that's a good one.
yeah, yeah. I hadn't thought about that either. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess office spaces are really like almost a perfect place to pierce through the veil on a very paradoxical standpoint. I guess this ties into like the karma of the week. If I could sum it up, it's the karma or the habit of trying to outrun yourself, like this rushing kind of energy. I don't know. Do you feel like in the office there's always like a rushing energy to get things done, or someone's always like trying to push you like this
Mm.
forward,
Yeah.
compounding kind of momentum? Yeah,
Yeah. You're always observed. You're always expected to be productive.
yeah,
It
yeah. I
never
think
lets up. Yeah.
that's very much the modern conditioning, right?
Mm.
Something is
Yeah.
always rushing you to like get this done, get that done. So, and I think every moment presents two openings, right? One is like you're exiting. We talked about that in the public practice week. And shout out to John and the embodiment workshop we just had. Even though we presented that workshop as an embodiment workshop, we also like presented a few slides talking about like all the exit strategies that we use to choose to become disembodied, right? So every moment you have a choice whether to exit the moment, dwelling on the past, or ruminating about the future, rushing with like proliferations, expectations, and all that stuff. And or you can enter. You can choose the entrance into what is arriving already, the entrance into the what is. Yeah, and this whole talk about resting, right? Resting, recognizing that's all there is. It's just can you just not rush, just slow down and see how this moment is happening, how
Mm.
you are. Yeah. Yeah. And Matthew just like just everyone else who, came on the live stream, he's at the end of I guess we just had a discussion about this. It's almost like a boot camp within a boot camp. There's just like a 10-day phase where it's announced that you're gonna be the next one in the hot seat in the cohort 8, which is one of the parallel cohort that just focuses on relationships, relating with one another. And you get hot seated, you get pinned. We talked about that previously. And then what happens after that, man? What happens after the hot seat?
What,
You have to
what
watch
happens after
yourself. You
the
have to
hot seat?
watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you get to watch it back, which is di can be quite difficult to watch, but also quite illuminating in lots of ways. Um, so then, like you kind of perhaps de-escalate from that, and then you'd have like like a debrief on a Friday to kind of just sort of go over what's kind of come up for you, and then other people's reflections on how it went, how they saw it going, and yeah, and then following that, like over the weekends, you get sort of like asked to have a meeting with our main teacher, and then the kind of like the cherry on the cake is having to come on a live stream with you guys,
Mm.
which for me is so out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I can kind of tell you're resisting it a little bit. You're like hoping I wouldn't
Yeah,
ask you, right?
I genuinely was. I thought I was going to get away with it. I was like, nah, I'll get away with this. Yeah, they won't ask me.
I mean, this is part of the training, part of the bootcamp training, if you are in that cohort. But I think Yannick came on last week, and he's still
Yeah.
processing like this hot seat process. We had
Yeah.
a really emotional sharing. So it's not over for you, Matthew.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It never, it never ending.
Ah, the never-ending hot seat. Yeah. Joyous. Joyous.
Never ending.
Yeah, no, Yannick. Yeah, Yannick
Mm.
had a some unfolding of sorts today.
How do you think your particular, I guess the particular karma that you're working with relates to the karma of the week? Like this whole notion of like not Russian, or maybe a part of you, when you're Russian, that means another part of you is also trying to like be somewhere else or trying to hide, right? Or trying to suppress,
Yeah,
ignore. And that
I
ignorance,
guess that's
as I
it.
would say, is what's created in the split, right? Between like past, future, and present, temporally, the duality, or even spatially, like subject, object. Well, whatever kind of split that gets created when you ignore a certain aspect of you.
Well, yeah, I think, that's in that kind of like rush to move forward, rush to kind of resolve everything. You kind of leave so much of yourself behind. So much of yourself gets left kind of like unseen and unfelt. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, that's something that we work on, that kind of like slowing down of everything to sort of really enable us to kind of see our patterns, see those parts of ourselves that maybe we didn't want to see or that we were ashamed of, or yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, we had a little discussion today, this morning, about how my karma is almost like the opposite of that. Like I tend to like overexpress, or if I get into some sort of situation where there is conflicts, I tend to just point it out right away, at least with like my partner. Yeah, instead of like maybe letting it cook. And Matthew, for you, it's like the opposite, right? It's like you said,
yeah.
you and your girlfriend, when there is potential conflict, you tend to kind of pull back and don't want to confront the situation. Is that kind of how like your pattern?
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, it literally is the complete opposite of you in that respect. I guess there's that kind of like a reluctance to walk into conflict,
And I wanted to be
sort of.
here, the live stream.
But yeah, yeah, again, like doing something like this is kind of yeah, like just the idea of it is quite exposing. And so, like that in itself can be quite uncomfortable. So you sort of spend your whole life kind of like hiding yourself in some respect,
Mm.
only showing kind of little parts of yourself in small increments, on your own terms. So yeah, doing
Have you
something
ever
like this plays
have,
directly
have
into
you
that.
have you ever done a live stream on the internet before?
No, why would I have done?
Why-
I think most of our members hopping on here is the first time they participate in some sort of live stream.
Yeah, dude, I would freak out. I mean, if I don't know, I can't put my shoes on because I've been doing this for a long time, but I guess if I was an acolyte who's never been on a live stream, I would feel a lot of resistance, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I would have felt more resistance a couple of weeks ago. I would have absolutely
Oh,
been
okay.
shitting myself. But it's interesting though. Like, it's like the idea of a live stream is like this little distant idea. But my experience of this moment is that I'm just talking to you two.
Mm, mm.
That's kind of surprisingly chill.
How do you, maybe your fitness level increased.
Maybe.
How do you think this is feels different than like getting pinned like in cohort 8 when everybody's sitting like almost like circling around you? And I remember there was a moment where you were looking at everyone and everyone was like looking at you and Yannick said like, "Oh, we can see everything. It's up to you whether or not you want to be seen," or something like that. And then you guys just there was a moment where you guys were all silent and just eye
Um,
gazed. That was pretty intense.
yeah, it was quite intense. It was really uncomfortable. There's I have a tendency to sort of like just want to look away. It's really difficult to kind of like stay focused on all these different faces that are staring back at you, like they're really looking. Um, and it's almost like you just want to like just disappear in that moment.
Right.
It's like, I just want to hide, man.
Mm.
But
But there's a part of you
Yeah.
that want to be seen too, right? Because I think those two parts want to be seen and wonder how you actually
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
same.
that's the weird paradox of it. Like there's that part of you that so desperately wants to be seen, wants to shine, wants to be seen, but then that feels kind of risky and it feels safer to kind of remain hidden, remain in the shadows. So then there's it's like the kind of contention between those two sides.
Mhm.
Um,
Most people can
yeah,
relate to that. Mhm. Yeah, just like the Russian, right? If a part of you that really wants to be seen, that means like you're splitting off another aspects that wants to hide, maybe.
mm,
Mm. I
yeah,
think
Yeah, and
another
I think
thing.
I
Oh, go ahead, Con.
oh, I was just about to say a lot of this practice this path to rest on these different conflicting parts, right? And
Mhm.
unifying them together.
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
think that's the entirety of the practice. When we talk about like sit and then gather and then rest and recognize. Before we can even rest, we have to gather. And what are we gathering? We're gathering all these different aspects of ourselves that seem to be in opposition, and then just letting the paradoxes kind of contend and then resolve themselves before you can make the decision, right? To route yourself into a more virtuous path, you kind of have to contend with all these different vectors of your desires.
yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. It's yeah, or it's like a reclamation, I guess we could say.
Mm.
It's pulling it all together into, into the light, I suppose.
Yeah,
Not
gather all
not causing
aspects
that
of you.
split.
Mm. The split's okay, right? It's just like, can we be okay with the split and see exactly
Mm,
how the split is created? That's more important than trying to get rid of splits because, like, non-separation includes separation, like, right?
mm.
So you have
Yeah,
to separate too.
yeah, that's it. And like that's something that comes up, and it comes up quite a lot, or it's certainly come up for me a lot this week. That's it's just there's always that inclination to want to push certain aspects away. Um, whether that be appropriation or grasping or like it's. But then there's a kind of like a hilarity to kind of realizing that, or kind of like say any sort of like level or stage of realization doesn't negate like all that kind of humanness, and like you say, all the splits and all that. You just kind of like you develop the fitness to kind of hold all this kind of simultaneously
Mm.
and not kind
Mm.
of like turn away from any of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these seeming paradoxes or contradictions or splits, a lot of it arises through our relationships. But I think we talked about that earlier too. Is like we have very similar patterns in terms of like how we choose to deal with conflicts or afflictions that arise in relationships. And then before it was just like moving on to a new relationship, right? Like
Yeah, for
just
sure. Yeah.
yeah, just like, hey, let's get to the next relationship, get to the next relationship. But the karma and the patterns never truly get resolved because the next
Nah,
relationship is just gonna go through the same pattern.
it
But
really does. It's amazing. It's like literally just following like it even follows like almost like the same time frame. For me, it
mm,
was kind of a long time frame. It's like maybe every 4 years.
every
It's
four
like a
years,
four every four
mm,
year 4 year window. I'd like I didn't see it until I don't know. Um, within the last I don't know 6, 7, 8 months. So
oh,
clearly, it's
okay.
like oh my God, like I've literally been creating the same
Mm,
situation over and over and over again. And then like again, you always like exit thinking that you're going to kind of like I'm going to find something more suitable, find the right thing, find the right person. And yeah, 3, 4 years later, it's like, oh, fuck, I'm exactly where I was, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty brutal realization, right? Like that
Yeah.
inside of I have just been looping, but previously this part of the loop I would be blacked out or not remembering anything. So then we'll forget that we're looping.
Yeah.
mm. Interesting. It's like the
Sobering.
loop wants you to forget so you can continue its trajectory.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that. But
Mm.
yeah, it's sobering when you see it.
But you are in a relationship right now, it's where you kind of decide to stay, right? You kind of decide to stay and work through stuff. And like, I guess I can
Yeah.
similarly, I'm in a relationship right now. It's been almost a year, and I guess there's not that much conflict between me and my partner, but that's also because I worked through a lot of it too, just seeing those patterns over and over. And a
Yeah.
lot of the times in the training, we have like life reviews, right? And it's like, oh, you see this like karmic loop that arises and it kind of echoes the previous loop, and you can see all very clearly like all these different
Mm.
echoes that just arise together. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit, and it's literally the same pattern. And then now you can choose, be like, okay, do I want to enter? Like, okay, let's maybe in this relationship you're in right now, there's a lot of contentions, like from what you told us, but then there's also a choice to stay, right? Not just this,
Yeah.
when we talk about like entry, it's almost like there's an entry of like, okay, I'm gonna decide to stay in this relationship, or an entry just this one moment where, okay, I'm just not gonna get lost. But
Yeah. I think I decided to stay. I don't think I really understood why I decided to stay or change my the orientation in that sort of set circumstances. Um, but I think on some level, without really seeing it clearly, I recognized um, that yeah, without seeing it clearly, I recognized that I was sort of creating a pattern in a way. But I don't think it was. It's almost like subconsciously, I realized that I needed to take a different
mm,
like routing. Um, but yeah, I still didn't see it clearly though. But there is a there is a kind of like a I don't know. There's like a strength in that conviction or that devotion to sort of remain with something and not turn away from it.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
literally, like when we repattern our karma, it's when we talk about like just stay, just rest. That's how the karma gets repatterned, and it's like
yeah,
this like micro cycles of this and like a more macro cycle. You can either choose to like, okay, I'm gonna just not that you stay in this relationship in order to repattern your karma. We probably don't think about that when we
no,
decide, but then there is a point where we kind of decide it's like, oh, maybe I can make a different choice, but then just staying here can allow you to kind of flip the karmas of maybe, at least for me, the previous relationships where you chose to exit, but now you choose to stay. And then you see the same karmic pattern playing out in this particular relationship. And then now you can actually start to, I guess, repattern.
yeah,
And do you guys find
Mm.
that the moment that there is that possibility for repatterning and we have the fitness to start making different choices, but what's so interesting is when we enter that new territory, is there's so much doubt.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Interesting.
what's interesting. That's one of the aspects that we are talking about this week, which is the doubt is the feature, not a bug, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is also the territory that when there's a possibility of opening, growth is happening, we will feel
Hmm.
like things are going wrong. I need to stop this. And we may
Right.
not
Right.
recognize that that voice that we have internalized so much is the
Mm.
very loop asking us to come back.
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Adrian framed that quite nicely, I think, this week. Um, yeah, it does. It's quite relentless. Like I say, the sort of like the closer you get to kind of I don't know. I suppose as the training sort of works, you know, those doubts do sort of creep up, and they could be quite persistent at times.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like an evidence that a previous pattern is disappearing or being repatterned, or the ground is disappearing.
Yeah,
And it's like the old
yeah,
you is still trying to hold on, so it creates this doubt. But actually, that could be a sign that you're actually going further. But most people,
mm,
with doubt arises, they immediately just get pulled back, right? Because they don't want to sit with the discomfort or the feeling of doubt. Just like we talked about in previous episode, like the feeling of being confused or the feeling of looking stupid is kind of similar, right? All these I remember mentioning was like, what's so wrong about feeling pain or feeling negative emotions? Like, we know that when we go to the gym, we need to sit through the pain. Like, you need to live and contend with the pain in order to grow. But for some reason, like, we're just, I guess that's part of the Russian, right? We're just conditioned to, anytime we have a negative emotion that pops out, we immediately try to relieve it, try to figure it out, or try to, like, not look stupid or not feel doubt.
mm, yeah. I find I think sort of I don't feel as much doubt at the moment. the doubt seems to have waned somewhat. I think, like, I know we spoke about groundlessness.
Yeah.
You mentioned that a minute ago, and that groundlessness, I think, can sometimes seem quite uncomfortable. Sometimes when it comes up at first, and that in itself can cause a certain amount of doubt, like that kind of that rigidity, that kind of sense of like, this is who I am. I must be this way, and when that sort of becomes quite diffuse and the ground kind of falls out from under you to some extent, it's like that can cause a lot of kind of uncertainty and doubt.
Mm.
But then I suppose when there comes a sort of like an acceptance of that, there's a sort of like there's like a I don't know, like a calmness to it, almost like a groundlessness, almost like becomes your ground in
Mm.
some respect.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty new for you, right? Or at least you have a deeper sense of groundlessness, if that's a thing. Um,
Yeah,
I remember
yeah, I guess
in
guess so,
when you
yeah.
got pinned, I remember there was a moment when you said you're seeing it in real time, like the ground, or at least the shallow, the insistency on certain grounds begin to loosen up, and then you're starting to see, oh wait, all these thoughts and ideas I had about myself and who I thought I was, none of it is really like it's not apart from your true nature, but none of it is like ultimately what you are, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
you're
sort
like
of
seeing that in real time, like doing the
yeah.
pinning. I
It
remember.
doesn't deny it, but it's it kind of takes away its sort of like in intrinsic it doesn't seem so intrinsic. So it seems more kind of interpretive or malleable in some respect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the audience when people experience like groundlessness? Because like in CC with a container, right? Like you're literally being held, and you're allowed to just take the leap or let go or
Um,
whatever. But I think a lot of people watching this might have experiences of groundlessness, right? Either on psychedelics or maybe doing inquiry, but
oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's very scary territory for a lot of
Destabilizing.
people. It's very
Yeah.
destabilizing. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very destabilizing. What advice would I give somebody? Mm,
Or maybe like just talked about how you're still here right now. Yeah, you say you feel you're pretty chill. You're feeling pretty chill right now. So
I think it just
you had
came
to
down
work through a lot of
to
that fear, right?
yeah. I think like I know it's something that we say a lot, rest and recognize, and I think that's very key. That the resting of it, the kind of again the insistence, the letting go of the insistence
Mm.
to swing to the opposite of however you're feeling in that moment.
Right, right.
Um, and so you're kind of like putting down the like you're putting down your sword and your shield in some respects, and and I think that's really the only advice or the only kind of thing that anyone can do in that situation. There's nothing you can do about it. No push it
There's nothing you
away.
can do about it. Mm.
Just kind of arrest and allow it, see it, recognize, rest, allow. It's
Do you
difficult,
think
it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, could be very uncomfortable, but you know,
do you think
what
there
else
was like
can
a
you do?
level of like trust, or you mentioned like devotion, like I don't know,
Yeah.
faith?
Yeah, I think that comes into it a lot. Faith for sure. Like, I suppose that's faith is really key in, I suppose, in the face of uncertainty,
Mm.
like to have faith in what you're doing and have faith in your path, you know. Yeah.
And I suppose that's something that gets cultivated. A lot of it got cultivated here, right? Like just having trust in the process and having
Yeah.
a container where people are willing to point out your blind spot, but also are willing to hold you when you let go.
I think that, yeah, that's incredibly important. Like to have that container in which, you know, you can fail, fall, laugh, cry, scream, and
Mm.
just yeah. I think that's key to kind of what makes, CC such a valuable space, such a valuable container.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
And
don't
so
always tell
there's
you what you want
faith.
to hear.
Yeah. Well, that's not true.
We don't
That's
always
not-
tell you what you want to hear. But I remember that I think the highlight of your opinion was when you were going around and just telling everybody like what they've done in the past or what something about them that really irritated you, and then you're just kind of letting out that frustration because I think a lot of what you've been
Yeah.
suppressing is like anger, right? Or maybe not even
Yeah.
anger. Yeah, there's anger, but I think Adrian says something very interesting. It's like little mosquito bites of things that you find kind of irritating. And I think
Yeah.
people can relate to that. We walk around just being like irritated about like a lot of things we're not even conscious of, and that slowly builds up like over decades.
Yeah. It's like a thousand little knives, just
Mhm.
like accumulating over time. It's yeah, that was kind of a that was an interesting moment. Like Adrian invited me to if there's anything about anybody in that like tight group, like if anybody had rubbed me the wrong way, I think is how he
Yeah.
phrased it. Um, and there was initially it was like really uncomfortable, just like just it was a great hesitance to just to even utter any of this. Um, but then once I kind of started, it felt really good. It felt really freeing. Like, and
Mhm.
I don't think
Mhm.
I went in too hard on anybody, but it just felt really freeing just to be able to express those things because, for me and, with my culture and karma, and it's like, it's very kind of repressed, that kind of politeness and always wanting to seem nice and seem a certain way. Um, and yeah, it was kind of joyous. And it was only actually when I watched it back like because we're encouraged to watch our hot seats, to sort of self-reflect before we go into sort of like the debrief um, a couple of days afterwards. And when I was doing it, I was so focused on the person that I was like talking to,
Mhm.
or that I was directing some kind of like criticism at or some sort of annoyance at, that I wasn't really paying attention to like the group faces in any great detail. But when I watched it back, it surprised me how kind of like how joyous it was for other people
Mhm.
to watch that expression. Yeah, it was quite nice. It was quite interesting. So it felt really
Mhm.
freeing, but then at the same time, a little bit of guilt crept in later. You're not gonna lie. Like later on that evening, I was like, oh, felt a little uncomfortable. Um, but yeah, then when I watched it back, I can see that it was, yeah, there was so much joy in it, even
Mhm.
being received.
Mhm. Yeah, I think around this time, this is like week 8. This is when a lot of people would have doubts, not just about more conventional things like around their lives, but about the path itself, even, right? Or even
Mm.
about CC or whatever. And yeah, yeah, it's like Mei Chen said, like you can't really have faith without doubts, right? They kind of go hand in hand. Like, what is faith without doubt, or something like that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes total sense. Like, what's two without one? Doesn't
Mm.
exist. You know, has to have without the contrast, without the context, like neither can be, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is around like the time when things are really like we're getting pretty deep into the fire elements, and things are really starting to get exposed. And
Yeah.
Mm.
one way to people deal with that is to externalize. There's something wrong with that, something wrong with this, everything but looking at themselves and taking full ownership.
Yeah, I think that's quite common for people to do that.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
very,
we
it's
we
the,
know. Yeah.
sorry, go on, Carl.
Oh, I was saying that we noticed this arc, right? Like at the
Yeah, the arc.
beginning, we were so motivated, full of
Mm,
energy, enthusiasm. We trained, and then it got very tiring, exhausting. We are doing a lot of work, and then the motivation started to drop. Now we have to kickstart aspiration again. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for something that is beyond my capacity to understand. I'm gonna hold to it.
mm,
We keep doing that, but then that goes on for a while. Now the aspiration, not just like the lack of the positive, but the aspiration is also tested against the negative
mm,
proliferation.
mm.
So now it's like, okay, let's see how strong is your aspiration when now there is not just I want to do this, I find this boring, I think I just need to focus on over there. But now there's also like all the thing that irritate you starting to pop out.
Yeah. I think in the Daniel Ingram map, or what is that? What is that map that he got it from? Like we showed that in the embodiment training, right?
The cycle of insight.
The cycle of insight. Yeah, yeah. this is like sort of like the phase of re-observation. Yeah,
I would say like even before that,
even before that. Okay.
yeah, because I would say that the
Mm.
part where we're starting to feel all this thing is like the disgust.
Yeah, disgust and maybe
Yeah.
fear, frustration, like
Misery, yeah,
irritation,
you just feel
misery.
miserable.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
don't like just everything rubs you the wrong way, but then you can't really work through it, so then it just builds, right?
Mm,
So what Frank is referring to is this path of purification where we take our being with all of its conditioning to go through this process of purification. And the maps points out this process that once the initial insight of arising and passing, like you're starting to see that, oh, okay, my sense of personality, my structure is not as
mm,
fixed like that. Then
mm,
comes the dissolution, and now you deal with
mm, mm,
the reorientation process. So we got the on the dukkha yanas, I would say about like on the insights into what suffering is, leads
mm,
to the point of like we really want to get the F out of here, like
mm.
desire for deliverance.
Yeah, yeah, desire for
Help
deliverance.
me, get me out of here, get me out of here. Right.
Mm.
Like, but at least then we make a concrete decision on our side to like, okay, I want to
Move
move
forward.
beyond this.
Yeah.
I want to move forward. And then after that, then come re-observation. Now, in order to move forward, you must thoroughly examine your patterns. And you see on the sides that maybe you've hurt yourself, you hurt others, you have uh, did a lot of damage over here with this relationship, did a lot of damage over there with that relationship before equanimity can
Yeah.
arise. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that resonate with you, Matthew? This is like the territory of like Dark Knight or Reobservation, like week 8, right? Like,
Mm.
I mean, just your Hatsi itself, I can see that arc. And then, of course, there's like bigger arc that encompasses the smaller arc, fractals and fractals of this. But I can see that process like kind of unfolding for you. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I've in terms of kind of like being reflective. Yeah, I think not just over this week, but yeah, over the sort of my time with CC, there's been sort of various points in my life where I've reflected on how I've been, how I've hurt others, and like that I hadn't really appreciated at the time. And then it kind of like the weight of that kind of comes to you. It's like, ah, it's not necessarily like you should feel shame or guilt. I mean, those emotions come up, and like
mm,
you're invited to feel those emotions, but it's like it's just more a case of like just really for the first time, just kind of seeing those things. It's like appreciating like yeah how you've been up until this point,
mm.
and you know the consequences of the of those conditions, cause and condition kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah. This is your third boot camp, Matthew, or
this is my
second?
third one. Yeah,
The third one, yeah,
third
yeah, yeah.
one.
You
Yeah.
still. I remember the first boot camp you were doing with Albert, right? Cohort B, like
Yeah.
we had like a B
The good
cohort.
old
Yeah,
days. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a
And
nice
then
time.
the last cohort is when we started the hot seating thing officially, and then you got hot seated in the last. I remember your hot seat pretty well out of everybody's in the last cohort, and you said
Yeah.
this one is even more intense, right? I'm just wondering, maybe you can talk a little bit about your your journey to get to this point, and how come you're still sticking around? Why do you?
That's an expansive question. The journey to this point, like, just throughout CC, you mean?
Just yeah, just like yeah, maybe how did you even get here?
Okay, so try and give you the short version.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the short
You can just
version.
share whatever
Uh,
you.
yeah.
I'm genuinely curious because I don't think we ever talked about how you got here really, and I'm just more
Uh,
curious like what made you want to stick around? Because like
okay.
like it's
All
not
right. All
easy,
right.
right? Like it's not easy. Yeah,
No, it's not easy.
but obviously you
Okay.
see some benefits or like you're still here and you're making progress
Yeah.
and because the second time you
Okay.
got hot
So,
seated. So
so start like so. The lead up to CC, I guess, is it could be quite short. It's just kind of lots of dabbling. kind of like I think someone introduced me to like Shinzen Young, like about, I don't know, quite a long
Mhm.
time ago, like 15 years ago.
Oh
And
wow, I didn't know
that
that. You knew
was
about
that
Shizen
was
Young before I knew about him.
yeah, that's because I'm old, mate. I'm old. It's so that was that was a proper game changer for me. That really kind of like opened me up to some extent, but I didn't really quite fully appreciate what I was getting into, or didn't really have the commitment to kind of follow it through. So then I was kind of on, off, and then I kind of got lost in the source again. Just just samsara. Let's have it kind of thing. I did a bit of Kundalini yoga on and off that wagon, and then I got into 2020. I got into psychedelics, um, and yeah, I jumped right off the deep end with that. And I had some sort of like some experiences with that, which, not to like, we don't like to sort of rarefy those experiences, but if anything, I could say that they was a great tool for like a course correction. So like having sort of an experience of something which it was sort of beyond my imagination, which I would never have conceived possible. Um, really
What
kind
psychedelics do you do?
of I decided, for whatever reason, I decided that five MEO was
Oh, that
something
was
that
the
I wanted
first
to do.
psychedelics you ever did?
Well, I did mushrooms once when I was about like 18, and I had such a bad time that I'd never touched any psychedelics since then. Like I hit completely emotional rock bottom, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I didn't do anything. I was like, no, I'm never touching any psychedelics again. And then for whatever reason, 2020 during the lockdown, I don't know, just kind of came my way. Things started coming up, and I was just like, yeah, I'm into this. I want to do this. Did all my research, found a group, thinking I'm going to have to go to Peru or something, or I have to go to Mexico. And then it turned out that like through like a Facebook group, it was like 15 minutes down the road. I was like, oh, happy days, let's go. Um, and yeah, and so I had some very opening, shall we say, experiences that of yeah, there's no even point in me trying to kind of describe that. Um, but again, just to say that it was beyond imagination. It was beyond what my mind could even possibly conceive of. The most imaginative mind could even conceive of a possibility that I could never have conceived. And that really sort of pulled me back onto the path, as it were. And I think at the time I was listening to kind of like Leo Gura, and I was watching your videos. Um, so yeah, and then I think I went down a bit of a new agey route for a bit. Got a bit hippie about it all. I got kind of into that like plant medicine scene. Um, and then I kind of started to see all these kind of like really dysfunctional people that were like doing this like medicine, doing these ceremonies. They're doing it all the time, and they're so fucked up still, like real pain. Like, and I'm, having, so it became quite obvious that there was no,
You can't heal your
yeah,
way, or we talked about that
yeah,
in the embodiment training, or you can't really purify or heal your way to realization. But
no, yeah, you're not going to find realization or liberation at the bottom, at the end of a pipe. It's not going
mm,
to happen. Um, and so that's when I started sort of, I was drawn back to your material again. Um, and yeah, and then I started noticing all the kind of like the CC bootcamp, join a bootcamp, sign up. And I was like, yeah, fucking, okay, let's go. Um, so after much deliberation and yeah, some umming and ahhing whether I wouldn't get in or wouldn't be accepted, eventually I was able to join cohort B with Albert, which was Albert's first cohort, which was a total blessing. I mean, that was a lovely introduction to CC. That was just
mm,
pure loving.
I
Yeah,
think
it was great.
that's
yeah,
amazing.
there's something about behind the scene when it comes to Matthew application was very interesting. I think
Mm,
Matthew, you're also aware of this, is that at first when Matthew applies, we are quite concerned about stability in Matthew's case, because like the situation with ups and downs, the psychedelics and formal practice hasn't really been stabilized yet. So it was kind of like
Mm,
mm,
maybe we'll recommend him to practice for some while and then reconsider. But I think it
mm.
was then Matthew joined the public practice week and have interaction with CC materials. And then I think Matthew, you reach out and you send another expression of how you felt about the whole thing and
Yeah.
um, your attitude towards the work, and then and based on that, which we say like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's funny
And that's
because Matthew is now on the anchors team. He's the one of the people that gets to look at the applications.
yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah, he's
haven't
on the
yet.
team now.
It's,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Be
But
training
yeah,
to carbon
training
profile
too.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of ironic. I hadn't really put that together. But yeah, that's kind of wild. But yeah, so that was my like tentative beginning, and yeah, so cohort 7 was this thing. It was kind of it was a big introduction to kind of like real Dharma, and yeah,
Mm,
with
real
lots of
Dharma,
kind of
interesting.
like
Well, okay, what
ontological
makes you
shocks.
feel like this is like real Dharma versus the stuff,
Well,
I guess the
I think
nuances or the that we have a pedagogy, right? Or something like that.
yeah, I think it's just the structure of the training, as you say, the pedagogy and
Mhm.
the like I was hearing things or hearing about things that I mean I hadn't dug too deeply into it. I guess I was kind of looking at kind of like the sort of like the spiritual marketplace was all kind of like on social media, on YouTube and stuff like that. That was kind of my avenue into it. So all that, other than like, I mean, Leo Guru gets a bit deep into stuff, whatever your opinion about Leo Guru is, and obviously your videos were like, um, but yeah, there was just so much depth and so much breadth to the
Mm,
kind of like the intricacies of the teaching, and then so many like little spots on the way where you have like it's like this ontological shock, and it's just
mm,
um, yeah. And so that's what I mean by proper Dharma. It's like really, really fucking getting into it. Like no messing about. This is it. Let's go.
mm.
And I'd never sort of observed or sort of come into contact with that kind of like commitment to sort of to exert and really kind of yeah get involved.
Yeah, I think
Um,
as we say, if you want to get this in depth into the Buddha Dharma, we talk a lot more than the Buddha Dharma, but just the fact that this kind of teachings, you really need to maybe go up to like Tibet or something, or really find it. It's hard to find this stuff on the internet. Like I've been,
yeah, I wouldn't have known
around the
where to
block. I
find
mean,
any of this stuff.
yeah,
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 I know.
Albert is a good example of that, right? Like he
yeah, yeah.
literally had to do the non-draw
Non-drone, right?
3 years.
Exactly. Prostrations just to
Yeah,
receive some of this teaching. Yeah.
4 to 5 hours a day for 3 years straight
Mhm.
in order to receive the behind the scene kind of teaching.
Mhm. I
Mm.
think Mei Chun was saying how it's kind of amazing how he uses the word like run of the mill people because that's the phrase that Shakyamuni also used. It's like, oh, I guess just your normal everyday folks can get into like the luminous hearts teaching, right? You've been in the Foundation of View cohort or not? You studied the luminous heart a little bit, Matthew?
I've only just started touching on it
You just started touching
'cause
on it,
it's
huh?
like it's starting to be incorporated into to 9D.
9D, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
you're in
so
9D too. Yeah, yeah. Matthew is also in the cohort D, which focuses on like view refinement, and we read a lot of like I guess yogic philosophy and just view refinement stuff. And yeah, you're a really good example of the round the mill people, right? You just work at an
yeah, that's
office.
me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think it's like a really good
Sorry, running the
representation
mill.
of like just people from all walks of life, just normal, your everyday run of the mill people, and getting into the stuff. It's pretty rare. I really don't see this happening anywhere.
Yeah.
Were you ever like in the non-dual zombie land, Matthew?
Non-dual zombie. I think maybe I had a little phase, but I think I was just memeing, to be
You were
honest.
just memeing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't. Thinking about like how I was, but at certain points, yeah, I probably was a bit of a non-dual zombie, but I didn't really have any kind of basis for that other than kind of yeah. I think I was just kind of trying to be that way at the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm. So it must be. It seems like lifetimes ago, right? Like cohort seven,
Oh,
cohort.
mate, it is.
I can't
It
even remember
does.
it. Like there's so
Yeah.
much that happens. It's like every day is a new adventure here.
What
Because
was that, like September last year? So I guess we're coming up to like a year now. Yeah, and it seems like so long ago when I think about it from a sort of like a like remembering like that those people that I was with and like the
right.
things that happened during that cohort. It's just it seems like so long ago. I mean, less than a year is not really that long. Like in like prior to CC, like a year could fly by and like nothing would have happened. Like just
Interesting.
life would have just been the same shit.
Mm.
Nothing changed. Whereas now it's just the kind of like the accelerated change is kind of astounding. Not just in yourself, you observe it in others, and it's just miraculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah. I remember reading about the neuroscience of why things seem to accelerate in terms of like our perception of time as we get older, because like we just repeat the same routines and same patterns. Our brain doesn't really
Mm.
need to slow down and process the experiences that we're having because we're so used to processing the same stuff. Like people just go through the
Yeah,
same motion every day. But as kids, like our brain actually takes time to like adapt to new stimuli and learn new things. So time goes by
mm.
slower when we're kids. Even if you like drive to a new place, it seems like slower than the way drive back home, right? Because like the drive back
Yeah,
always seems faster because you already went through that route. But I think that makes
yeah,
sense. Like in CC, it's like every day you're learning, even like from cohort to cohort, you're learning new material. I'm learning new material.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the
So
amount of karma that gets processed, right? It's very fast, but at the same time, you also kind of, I guess, distorts your perception of time, where it seems like very slow, but that's precisely it's because
Yeah.
the process
It's
of
very
the
yeah, it's
karmic,
very packed. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
also
yeah.
not rushing.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
strange. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. Are we going really slow or really fast? It's like both and
yeah.
neither. It's like, yeah, you're processing your karma really fast, but because you're processing karma really fast, you're constantly experiencing every moment anew, and you're learning so much new stuff. And it seems like
Right.
lifetimes ago. Like even like last week seems like a long time ago, but it's
It's
also
wild.
seems
Yeah.
like there's no time to pass. It's very strange. Yeah, yeah.
I was talking about that to someone the other day. I can't remember. I was trying to sort of. I think yeah. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking about how like when I think about something that happened in like say like the first week,
Mm,
it seems like almost like an eternity ago. Like time seems really stretched in that
mm,
respect, like it's slowed down. But then at the same time, when you sort of like stand back and sort of think of it in kind of like sort of chronological terms, like oh that was 7 weeks ago, which is absolutely no time at all. Yeah, it seems like a really short space of time.
mm.
So, but in experientially, like it's like the experience, the time is a sort of stretch. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like from a very kind of generic standpoint, it's like
Mm,
6 weeks, 7 weeks, what's that? Nothing. But then in terms of actual remembered experiences and the things that you've gone through, and like not only like the teachings, like it's all the relating, all the learning that you do from other
mm,
people. As yeah, it's just yeah, it's mad.
mm.
Yeah,
But
so sometimes I even think like what happened like like 2 or 3 days ago, and it's like it seemed like ages ago. It's pretty wild.
I think that's one of the reasons why vacations are so appealing, right? When you go on a vacation, the first few days or first week or whatever, it just like it seems really slow compared to your old routines. So I can see
Yeah.
we're going on a vacation of our minds every day, but it's not easy either, right? But there's also
Mm.
a lot of you literally go into the unknown, right? When we go on a vacation, it's literally called a trip, right? And I think Machen said
Yeah.
it's kind of like drinking a shot of ayahuasca every week,
Ah,
a
yeah.
fruit trip every
I
morning
suppose
you
you
drink
could say
whatever.
that. Yeah. I suppose you could say that.
Mm.
But like you were talking about, you mentioned earlier about like childhood, and
Yeah.
thinking about like as like
Oh, you had
a
a lot of experiences like when you realized that there was a certain innocence that were brought back like during the training that reminds you of your like childhood or something. As you
no, I don't. What I was going to say then, it was just like it's interesting that like sort of outside of kind of this kind of training, like
Mm.
most people kind of live in a kind of like a perpetual expectation. And so, like you're saying,
Perpetuation,
it's like like
rush.
time. It's like there's nothing filling that gap. So you go from it's like Christmas, it's Christmas again, it's Christmas again, it's Christmas again, and like nothing's happened because you're kind
Mm.
of continuously like living in this just sort of yeah. There's no new experience. There's nothing to. They say it's nothing to kind of
Mm.
spark, light a spark. It's all just kind of like a perpetual
Just
expectation.
repeating the karmic loop. The loop is like
Yeah.
repeating themselves, and we're just kind
Mm.
of like not even conscious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Khan, I remember reading the karmic report. Is this week we talked about time a lot, like
Yeah.
being as time. Do you want to maybe get into a little bit of the pedagogy of I don't even know what the pedagogy is because we're getting a little bit more in the territory of like because the first half of the boot camp is more like oh we're building up this container. We talked about like earth element and then water and then air and then fire. But after fire, it's kind of nebulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting to a very deep territory that it's hard to put into words. Like, well, what do you think that if you had to describe it, what is the pedagogy? Like being as time, like what? There's a lot of talk about time, right? Compounding phenomena and stuff like that. How that creates a sense of time and latent tendencies too, right? Like trying to step outside of time that creates this latent tendency. Like, how would you describe the
Yeah, I would
pedagogy?
say yeah, it's very nebulous, and usually in phase three, that's why
Mm.
we all got we got these kind of freaking out patterns, right? Like
Mm.
it's very hard
You
to
can't hold on to
handle.
things.
Yeah, like can't hold on to things. It's too abstract at times, or it seems like oh, there's too much uncertainty. I don't know what to do with what's going on now, because I think in some ways we're entering the chasm of in between identities, like all the work
Mm.
to be mindful of the gap, be mindful of the spot in between the two identities, the bottle, and cultivate that. It
Hmm.
opened the chasm to the point that there is a shot for you to see through your ongoing structures, your identity, right? Your me making, my making. That kind of ossification to make the observer stand apart from time,
Mm.
right? So then we always split ourselves, we objectify time in a way of like, I am here living through a timeline, and I'll try, go like this with a timeline,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So in phase three, in the 3 weeks, is only training regarding now that the yogic skills, the purification has reached a strong momentum.
Mm.
How do you just rest to the point of cessation, right? Like in all the training that comes with the renunciation, so allowing yourself to let go, just rest, allowing yourself to still move forth with aspiration, like still engaging with life, doing
Mhm.
activities, because not the kind of renunciation that is just letting go and then you become a zombie, you don't do anything. Because all of
Mm.
us still have projects we're doing, responsibility we're taking care of. Yeah, so this is a territory where each week there's different geometries that the transmission provides a practitioner to seize.
Mm.
Mm.
Would you say like it's really about the ceasing of all the different like insistency and resistance? Not about because when we think about cessation, a lot of people probably associate it with like blacking out or like yeah, because I think the word cessation means a little differently, right? In the boot camp. Like what are we seizing?
Yeah. I would say blacking out probably is like we our mind entering a certain territory where there's unfamiliar fabrication, or like the usual fabrication that we can immediately make a story out of it. It's not online. It's not operative.
Mm.
So we literally can't form even memories correctly in this
Mm.
kind of territory. So sure, we have a blank out, we have a discontinuous, like a discontinuity,
Like a
right? Like
Daniel
it's
Ingram cessation
like
kind of. Yeah,
like
there can be that. Yeah, but yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But I think like this is also because it's coming with this kind of re-observation. So you allow the entirety of like Matthew was saying, all the loops that what have been like starting to come out. It's so much, it could be so much pain, right? Because recognizing, oh my God, I've been doing this pattern for I don't even know how long. Like
Mm.
all the way, its roots reach all the way to that trauma when I was a child, all the way through adolescent, all the way to like adulthood, and it's still right here. Like today,
Mm.
I'm still doing that.
Mm.
Right? So recognize that and then seize that pattern, seal it off, allow it to just exhaust itself. And from that feel, from that like momentum, choose differently
Mm. Mm.
to branch, like to recorrect your branch of timeline,
Mm. Mm.
like a cessation of an identity, like an
Mm.
attachment on how we cling to like, oh, I am this kind of person, so and so and so, because I have been doing this thing, so and so and so.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew literally experienced like in real time, like in doing his hot seat, right? A little bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, I think was it like in the hot seat? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was. I think upon reflection, like in the days that followed that, and a couple of days that followed that, there was a kind of a sense of feeling a bit, yeah, like I say, that sort of that rigidity or that sort of that insistence of feeling like you have to be a certain way, like because of this, because of that, that kind of, yeah, went away somewhat, which kind of it initially kind of it's sort of interpreted as like a, without sort of putting any fancy words on it, it's like, oh, this feels a bit weird. But it didn't feel disconcerting in any way.
because
But
because you've been training, right?
well,
You have
yeah, but
foundations.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm in the right place for it. But
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of a sequence to these things too. Like, and that's why you say, like, in CC where there's a
Yeah.
pedagogy. Even like the Hasi itself has a sequence. Like, okay, you get to bitch at your teammates before you can trust and let go and get that cessation, for like a better word, or that sense of groundlessness.
I think there's also a lot of momentum that we are riding, right? Like this
Right,
cohort, ride from the previous cohort,
right,
ride
right,
from the
right.
previous cohort, like that. And then as
mm,
the cohorts actually putting in the work, figuring things out, we get a chance to take on uh, maybe a territory of challenge that previously was not accessible,
Yeah, yeah,
a degree of freedom that previously was not accessible.
yeah, yeah.
And there's also like that's like a macro cycle. Within the micro cycle, there's also like phase 3 is when the chasm is really open. There is possibility for new choices for you to become a different being.
Mhm.
And there's also this kind of building up the momentum. I guess in the case of Matthew, like seeing like Janai, Roger, Alex, Yannick, like all these guys who's going before you, right? Like they leaping, they jumping in.
mm.
And now it's my turn.
I gotta leave. I was gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the benefit of training, having training partners. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I think
all these guys are doing it. There's no way I'm not doing it.
yeah. There's no
Even though,
choice.
yeah,
It's
even though
happening.
like,
I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah,
were helping them taking the leap, right? Because you were in the cohort, you were pinning other people too. So like, it's like you take it's like
yeah,
bungee jumping, right?
participating in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
yeah. Eventually, it's your turn. Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite analogies. Like I think Mei Chen used last week. It was like, okay, you gotta just close the door to the slaughterhouse and just walk away. Like all the
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
proliferation, all the
that's the
Good
thing about
analogy.
the comment of the week I want to highlight is this aspect of okay, the seizing thing, like, but I still identify as an observer floating above time, watching my own experience, right?
mm-hmm.
And I can't let go because of now you see the pattern of maybe you have too much lust, too much anger that you can't express or whatever. What to do, right? Like we literally see in our experience that I can't let go. This is too much of a burden, too much of a problem. I keep choosing its direction.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think, like the first time as a cohort, we're training with such precision that we even allow that part to have a protocol to know that I am not the one who would move forward. My role is to die with this karma.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a very touching and yeah,
Interesting.
very very touching teaching that I see we're going into. Like there is a being, its role is to be depressed.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I
Like
think you're speaking
depression
about
and
like
yeah,
the
like
part of you that have this voice of like, man, I want to die
don't
or
care.
whatever. Yeah, don't
Yeah,
care. I don't care about this, and just let that voice be that voice. That's a function, right?
yeah.
Instead of trying to get rid of it, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that also on Saturday, right?
Yeah,
In the
that's what I'm saying.
breakout
The
room.
Saturday debrief. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like there will be a part that is absolutely disgusted,
Hmm.
miserable, fearful on that. And like we don't want to make the bad situation worse, right? Like that's the teaching we've been seeing. Like, okay, like this part of you, which you kept in the basement, is really malnourished and can't trust and have all these problems. Of course, like if you expect that version to just like, I love the light,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
This is
Part of
completely
acceptance,
unrealistic.
yeah, yeah. Part of
Yeah,
acceptance is not really to just like force everything into the light. It's actually, hey, stay in the your role is to stay in the basement, and that's okay, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody got to be the gimp, right? Like a part of us, we if we plan it accordingly, we have to plan for the part that is
Hmm.
not about it, so that the rebellion would be cooperative, right? It's a controlled opposition. So it's like that is like a true sportsmanship of like we have the medium. That's why like it's back to embodiment of really allowing ourselves to feel our body, to
Hmm.
really give space to contortion, twisting, and not trying to be perfect. Like this obsession with feel good, look symmetrical, and that's the only aesthetic that you would accept.
Mm, mm. Interesting. Yeah, the next phase is gonna be silence, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
It's like it's up to you now. Navigate however you want.
mm.
Mm. I like that pace.
You like it?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can even see some people maybe get attached to like the words, right? Then you have to let go of all the scaffolding. No, we call it, I guess we call it scaffolding, right? Like even though this pedagogy, like water, earth, air, or whatever,
Yeah,
we're
like you're
just made
building
up
a
of scaffolding.
scaffolding for your structure, but
Mm,
what like you have to remove the crutch.
yeah. I think Wittgenstein said you to climb uh to climb like a building using a ladder, you have to throw away the ladder. And he said his book is just one of those ladders that you climb. And if you truly get his teaching, you wouldn't continue to climb the ladder. You would just put the ladder down after you climb the building. And then Buddha said the same thing, right? It's like when you
Yeah,
cross the
other
shore, you
shore.
yeah, you
Yeah,
put the boat
leave
down.
the
But it's not
raft.
like a one-time thing. That's what I realized. Some people think, oh, I'm just done with this. There's no more boat. And then when the seeking energy comes back and when there's more things to look at, you still insisting on no boat. Yeah, but it's a cycle of these. Like, okay, now there's the time of this phase to put the boat down. That doesn't mean that there's no more, path to traverse, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Adrian and today's A discussion, you guys talk about raising the bar, right? You guys talking about like um even in the previous cohort, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, or something like that, you hit a massive breakthrough. But if you're resting on your laurels,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
that's also not an it's not compatible with the culture.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
mean
there's
by that?
no.
Like, which part? Like, we just kind of like bliss or what?
Yeah, like you kind of like, oh, I got the
2 year
realization.
honeymoon.
Yeah,
That's what
like
happened to me. I got a two
yeah.
year honeymoon.
It's fine if if you're chilling and hanging out by yourself, right? But if you know like everybody's putting in the work, putting in the reps, and so on and so
Mm.
forth, then there's a certain kind of pacing that we gotta roll with it, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be like oh going hard or like like
Yeah.
that. But it's
That's the
like
other side of the
okay,
extreme. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's the trap that I fall into of trying way too hard or being too greedy with how much I
Mm.
can take on. So
Mm.
it's like I see that the bootcamp structure is designed in a way that, yeah, sure, phase one, we like doing on the engine check, like earth check, water check, air check.
Mhm.
All right, let's
Mhm.
go for a test drive. Let's see how it is. Pressure cooker turn on and see like, okay, a little bit of twist and tumbles. We say, okay, we can handle this. And then phase three, we really go for it and really
Mm.
go into the unknown, test whether, okay, we see that is if you aspire towards groundlessness, sightlessness, aimlessness, let's really see how you handle that. And
Mm.
phase four, whatever you have discovered, now integrate,
Mm.
stabilize that. And then the interim, right, which is where your fitness will express in the one
Mm.
month between the two boot camps, just live your life, see how you'll be able to actually uh, change your lifestyle in that way. But
Yeah.
then next boot camp rolls around again on a new training cycle. So then
Yeah.
it's again, check your earth check again, water check again, air check again, because it will be a different sense of embodiment with
Yeah.
different,
Different sense of environment. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, like
In a sense,
different
totally
landscape of
different.
the emotion, different type of desires, different way you fabricate. Otherwise, like the previous realization would ossify and become a new thing, right?
Yeah, I think that's why most people get stuck, especially if they have like genuine insights. Actually, it's like I think we talked about that in cohort D as well, Matthew, about how because we're in a territory where we probably had a bunch of insights, right? And there's a subtle superiority that can occur as a result of these insights. Like some of it's very subtle. It's like you're just walking around and feeling like somehow a little bit more superior than other people, precisely because you did have the insight. But then that even that sense of equanimity or the groundlessness because it's a little bit more stabilized and you can feel the peace. Because I'm guilty of that myself. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's almost like using um, the ground of realization as a way to not engage.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you constantly creating the condition in which that your version of realization or whatever it is, like you insist on
yeah,
bliss or you insist on equanimity, whatever it is, it gets
Yeah.
conditioned into its own concavity. right? And but then if you have like training partners or like this, everybody that's around you that's doing that, if you like accept the fact that you are in modernity or BDSM, it can be very difficult if you keep holding on to that and then still trying to live in life, right? And then how do you integrate that? That's a lot of the training
Yeah.
is about, like,
It can be
how
quite
do you
subtle, I think. Yeah.
very, very subtle.
Like,
Yeah, you don't even
yeah.
realize it. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good point. Like say, Khan, like you said that emphasizing the point that like that sort of that low-key tendency to kind of, maybe after people have done like, two boot camps, three boot camps, four boot camps, like maybe they have an inclination, maybe they realize at a certain point and they have an inclination to sit back on their laurels.
Mm.
And then before they know it, they'll get overtaken by someone who's just joined, and they're like, oh shit, I've,
Yeah.
I've got to fucking catch up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the big, for me personally, big like view refinement moment. This cohort was like, oh, it doesn't matter what realization I have, the war is moving on.
Yeah.
Like there is a rate of change that the war is going through. And
Yeah.
if I don't maintain a certain kind of sharpness, then it's just slowly gonna become non-dual zombie, just
Yeah,
slowly.
yeah, you're gonna start cocoon yourself into your own echo chamber. You can build up an online community that echoes the same voice.
Yeah,
That's why we see a lot, actually. But it's interesting you speak about how the war is moving on really fast. It's like I think CC is just like a reflection or a fractal of whatever's going on in the world, right?
yeah,
So it's like the world is going nuts right now, right? Like I don't follow the news that much, but I do kind of follow the AI trajectory, how fast everything is going, and with like disclosure, like Steven Spielberg's movie. There's a bunch of talks about aliens. A lot of ontological
Yeah.
shock is happening to people that some are aware, but a lot of people are just not aware. It's like 2027, 2030 is gonna. I saw this one video. 2027 is gonna be like the last normal year or something like that. But yeah, it's kind of nuts, to be honest. And
It's nuts.
uh,
and how the CC container itself is being accelerating, that aligns with how the war is accelerating. It's kind of freaky, actually.
Mhm.
And with your own like your own being and stuff. Like there's no separation. Yeah.
Yeah, I even turned on like my
Intense.
the only time I ever sort of really engage with the news is like sometimes at lunchtime I'll like go on the BBC News website. That's the most kind of like surface level mainstream news you can think of. And I was looking at the BBC News website and there was an article about like a disclosed UFO. And I watched a video of a UFO on the BBC News. I was like, what the
Mm.
fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's how it's been
Yeah.
around. Like, yeah, yeah. Interesting. Uh,
The Beeb. Uh,
Big ontological shocks from everywhere. I think
yeah,
this is why this work is so important now because it's almost like the war is also crossing a chasm, and some people are getting left behind. Like especially if you refuse to see your pattern or refuse to just not suffer, it's not gonna be easy. I think people are gonna get swallowed.
mm,
Uh, but that means something new is in the horizon, right? All this like dichotomy about from the AI perspective is like the war is either going to be like really awesome if it's like a test for humanity. It's like how does humanity respond to something like that, or even UFOs? It's either going to be very destructive, or if there's like right after right view, we can be looking at like a new phase, right? And we see that kind of cycle like running in our own journey of just like one sit or like one phase, 1 week. But we prepare, right? Prepare for all this crazy accelerations within ourselves and like world at large. Yeah. Pretty exciting, actually. What do you think, Matthew? Are you excited?
yeah, bring it on. Yeah,
Well, I'm just
I'm up
wondering,
for
like,
it.
this is we're gonna we talked a little about relationship. How does your girlfriend feel about like this thing you're doing? Like, is she into like spiritual? Because that's one of my
No,
instances.
no.
Like, I need my partner to be into this stuff.
Yeah, I remember you saying that the other day. I can't
Yeah.
remember where you said it, but no, this is interestingly, I don't know if it's the same for a lot of people, but yeah, she couldn't be further from it. Like, not interested at all.
And you don't care,
Yeah.
or you do
No,
care.
I don't care. No, it's not a requisite or anything. No,
Mm.
I don't mind. I mean, I guess maybe it would be nice. But I've never been in a relationship when someone has that kind of
Mm.
similar interest in that way.
That might be cool too, because it kind of forces you to let go of your insights or like seeing how even the Dharma is empty, right? Because if you get another person who's into this stuff too, it's sometimes it can be easy to verify the path,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, I
necessary
think.
sometimes too, but it can get in the way too.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a requisite for me.
Mm.
But yeah, no, it's not something I can really speak about with her. Yeah, she kind of switches off.
Mm. Cool. Any last words from you guys? Any what do you look forward to in the I think it's coming to the almost the last phase now, right?
Yeah, we're in the middle of phase 3 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to mention that the embodiment workshop, the first one, the
Right,
response
right.
from the sit was really positive. Shout out, John.
Yep. We're gonna provide some material, right, for
Yes,
people
sir.
who didn't make it. Okay, like can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we would like to provide those materials to be available here on YouTube. So now we're tweaking a little bit on the back end, make sure description and everything like that is ready. So you guys can sit with us with the guided meditation by John and also join us for the discussion. Um, where Frank, John, and I we go into and talk about the different challenges relating to embodiment training.
Mm.
There's also a second workshop that's coming up
Oh, it's
in
gonna be focused on
two,
a Dark Knight, right? Yeah, people
yeah,
love that shit. Yeah, Dark Knight. Yeah,
especially like the kind of dark nights that we see. It's not like a just one time thing, but like you said, recurring themes.
yeah.
It come back again and again and again, and we see that there is this kind of plateau where we are looping again into this plateau. So very interesting. It's not like this
Yeah.
and it's just here, but it's like a loop again and again. And this loop itself is a dark night.
Interesting. Hmm. And then all the both embodiment training is also to kind of prep people for the public practice week, right?
Yeah. And all of these events are a way for us to introduce CC methodology and leading up to the bootcamp structure,
Mm.
90 days. Yeah. So the bootcamp application is open. You guys can check that out. We have a lot of these sharings from Matthew, from Frank, and myself, ringing and resonating with you guys. Yeah, we'd love to have you also go through this journey because it is very much a transformative experience in many ways many more ways than we can describe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
You're
one of
gonna
one
have
of
to
the things
come
we're
see for
seeing, like,
yourself.
yeah, you gotta come and see it yourself.
Yeah.
Each one will have their own story and their own flavor.
Mm.
Right.
When is the next bootcamp start? September 21st?
Yes, sir. September 21st to December 12th. So that will be our full bootcamp. Yeah. So in about almost 2 more months. Right. And the next event we can have together is August 1st, where we would have the second workshop.
Cool.
All right. Thanks,
All
Ryan.
right,
Thanks,
guys.
Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks, Con. That was a lovely chat. I really enjoy
Nice.
hearing your journey, Matthew.
Yeah, mate. It's nice to be here.